The flame that calls.
There are places that hold more than just trees or fields. Forests that hold old stories and the burden of forgotten souls. The village of Streltsy had such a forest nearby. It had its own legend that was passed down from generation to generation. It is said that a small light appears in this forest from time to time. It trembles like a candle flame and beckons those who see it. But those who follow it never come back. The legend frightened children, but also aroused the curiosity of the young and brave. One of them was Stefan, a 16-year-old boy who was always drawn to adventure. He had heard these stories many times, but he laughed at them. A fire that lures people in? Those are fairy tales for scared old ladies, he said. One evening, the village started talking about the light again. Someone had seen it near an old oak tree on the edge of the forest. Stefan decided it was time to solve the mystery. I'm going to go find it and show everyone that it's just nonsense, he confidently told his friends. Stefan set out for the forest when the sky was already dark. The moon illuminated the road, but the closer he got to the trees, the more their shadows absorbed the light. The forest looked unfriendly, but the boy was determined. He walked for several kilometers, going deeper and deeper. The forest seemed endless, and although Stefan knew these places, everything looked different in the dark. And then he saw it. A small light appeared ahead, between the trees. It glowed with a pale orange light and trembled slightly, as if waiting for him. Stefan stopped. Well, here you are. It's time to find out who you really are, he whispered and took a step forward. But the light also moved, moving away. The boy followed him. The light always kept the same distance, approaching and then moving away. It seemed to be playing, not allowing him to get too close. Stefan went deeper into the forest, and suddenly realized that he did not know where he was. The trees seemed the same, and the road he had come on disappeared from view. But he could not stop. A light shone ahead, and the boy felt as if he could not take his eyes off it. There was something in its light that made him go on, even though fear began to creep into his heart. Time seemed to stop. Stefan had been walking for an hour or maybe several. He no longer felt the ground under his feet, only the vision of this strange flame. And suddenly the flame stopped. A small clearing opened up in front of him. In the center stood an old rotten stump. The light hovered over it and did not move anymore. Stefan came closer, but when he took the last step, his feet suddenly sank into the soft ground. He tried to break free, but the ground held him tight. Everything around him was quiet, even the fire seemed to have frozen. And then he saw a black hand start to crawl out from under the stump. It was dry, like a burnt tree, and it was reaching straight for him. Stefan screamed, tried to pull his legs out, but in vain. The hand rose higher, and a shadow appeared behind it. It was a human figure, black as ash, with no face. It was slowly approaching. You came. Now you're going to stay, the voice said, sounding cold and distant. Stefan tried to escape again, but the ground under his feet pulled him deeper. He felt his feet getting cold, and darkness began to envelop him. The fire, which had previously glowed with a warm light, now turned blue and cold, as if it was happy to find a new victim. The next morning, the locals found only Stefan's flashlight at the edge of the forest. It was lying on the ground, and its light was still on. But the boy himself was gone. Since then, no brave soul has decided to follow the light. His legend became not just a story for children, but a warning to everyone who passed by this forest. It is said that the light still appears from time to time. It plays, trembles in the darkness, and waits, waiting for someone to follow it.